A lot of us can't stand Disney now, for obvious reasons like creative bankruptcy, pushing divisive political messaging, and the systematic destruction of some of our favorite franchises. Pixar, in my opinion, has thankfully for the most part stayed away from this. Though they did fall into the sequel train, I thought that most of their movies recently have been pretty good. I enjoyed Toy Story 4, Onwards, Soul, Luca, Turning Red. Lightyear was a bit disappointing and flopped hard though. So can I say the same about Pixar's latest movie? Is it a masterpiece?
Something good,
Is it a disaster?
something bad,
Or is it somewhere in the middle?
bit of both.
Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and today I'm going to give you my review of Pixar's newest film, Elemental. But before we get started, please leave a like to help out the channel, subscribe, and ring the bell so that you never miss any of my new content. Now let's get into it. Elemental centers around fire element Ember, voiced by Leah Lewis, the daughter of Ronnie Del Carmen's Bernie and Sheila Omi's Cinder. Bernie and Cinder are immigrants, having moved from Fire Island to the vast Element City, creating their own convenience store and carving out a place of belonging in an abandoned part of the city. As they run the store and raise Ember, that part of the city is rapidly populated with more fire elements until it's eventually dubbed Firetown. Anyway, catching up a handful of years later, Bernie is getting old and kind of frail and is trying to prime Ember to take over the store.
This shop is dream of our family.
Someday it'll all be yours.
But she has a bit of a temper and isn't the best with dealing with customers, and has constant blow-ups that are literally her blowing up because she's made of fire. One blow-up where she runs into the basement causes the basement to flood, where she's introduced to Mamodo Athie's Wade, a kind and emotional water element, who is also a city inspector and writes a ton of tickets for her father's store and basically goes to go get it shut down. So what starts as Ember chasing him down to save her family's store eventually turns into a budding romance, with them growing closer and closer, despite their elemental differences and the fact that fire doesn't really get along with anything. Okay, so right out of the gate I want to say that this is not a bad movie. I have heard a ton of people ripping this apart, and I really don't think it's that deserved. Is it the most emotional and well-written Pixar fare? No. Is it very original with the story and the way it handles its messaging? Not really, especially if you've seen Zootopia Entangled, but the animation is stunningly beautiful. Ember, Wade, and Bernie are three-dimensional characters, with believable struggles and character arcs. The emotional core is definitely there, and that all has pretty good results, even if it never reaches great and does have a few things that pull it back.
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
Something Pixar has always done well is fleshing out their worlds, making them feel very populated and lived in with a rich history. Element City is absolutely full of this sort of thing, and when filled with strong characters and Pixar's usually top-notch animation, it goes a long way in getting you emotionally invested in the film. I also enjoyed watching the romance between Ember and Wade play out, as they do have plenty of chemistry, and the different ideas and ways that they play with fire and water mixing is a very nice touch that adds a little bit of dynamic fun to the fact that they're just having kind of like a normal romance. There's also a good amount of strong humor too, aside from really bad puns and bottom-of-the-barrel jokes about the elements.
Got two kids that are swimming around here somewhere. Orca! Follow!
I also thought that the climax was pretty well done and emotionally satisfying, especially the very ending. That being said, it took me a while to get into this film. I was very invested in the prologue between Bernie and Cinder, and caught on to all the different nods, messages, and parallels regarding director Peter Sohn's upbringing with his immigrant Asian parents. But when we catch up with Ember when she's an adult, she is really unlikable, and Wade kinda is too.
They don't like you. I don't like you.
She's a little too mean and unstable, and Wade is just so whiny and emotional that I was thinking to myself, seriously? And that was just accentuated by lazy jokes, slapstick, obvious foreshadowing, and way too many cliched moments of, oh, I don't know what to do, my dad really wants me to do this, but I don't know if I really want to do that, I want to do my own thing. It, like, after about the sixth time, I was like, okay, I get it.
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up.
I also thought that there were way too many lines that hammered the message hard, making it too obvious to the point where it was pretty annoying and preachy.
Why does anyone get to tell you what you can do in your life?
Elements cannot mix.
Trying to fill my father's shoes. But I never once asked what I wanted to do.
But at a certain point, thankfully, that all takes a backstory to the budding romance between Ember and Wade. And it works well enough to where I can excuse some of those problems, along with bringing in some of the best animation in the film, especially during one scene where Ember and Wade are exploring an abandoned flooded museum. From there, the characters grow and change in realistic ways as they learn to overcome their biases and forge their own paths together. And the way the movie handled it was pretty good.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else to say about this film, so I guess I'll wrap up the review. Beautiful animation and a great cast support the strong emotional core and romance here, even if the characters start off pretty unlikable, and the lame humor and heavy-handed messaging take away from a lot of it. So while it's nowhere near Pixar's best, it's thankfully not their worst, and a decent enough way to spend an hour and 40 minutes with your kids when it's on Disney+. Oh, and that new song by Lauv is great and has been stuck in my head ever since I saw the movie. And that's my review of Elemental. Thanks for watching, everybody. I've been Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions, and if you like this review, you know exactly what to do. Please leave a like, like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss any of my content. You can also find the links to my socials in the description below. Leave a comment with your thoughts, and while you're at it, you can click or tap right here to check out my review of The Flash, or just go over to my channel where you can check out my reviews, my shorts, and my old shit. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you on the next one.